Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Today we're going to be talking about sweepstakes scams, so stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. Ryan, it's always a pleasure talking with you about different unique things, in particular scams.
Yeah, and certainly sweepstakes scams and prize scams are coming through the mail. Now they're intruding our emails and our phone calls as well. Most of them is where someone falsely claims that you've won the lottery or a contest that you never entered. All you need to do, though, and here's the catch, they want you to prepay a fee or a tax in order to collect your winnings. However, your winnings never arrive because the lottery or contest is fake. Legitimate sweepstakes are free and require no upfront payment, especially in Ohio, where free is supposed to mean free.
So let me assume that if we have not entered something in, most likely it's a scam, right?
It's hard enough to win a contest when you have entered. It's impossible to win if you haven't entered. Imagine receiving a sweepstakes win notification saying you've won as much as $10,000 or $10 million. And all you need to do to claim your winnings is pay some type of advanced fee or a tax or a customs charge. They'll give you one excuse or another about why you have to pay fees up front. Fact of the matter is, if you have to pay up front, it's a scam. There's no contest, there's no winnings, there's no pot at the end of the rainbow. It's all a scam. And the money that you give the fraudster is usually going to be lost forever. They usually want payment through some type of a wire transfer or a gift card or a prepaid money card. And as I've talked on this show before, those are red flags of a scam because those payment methods are fairly anonymous to the scammer. And it's very likely that you'll never get your money back if you pay using one of those methods. So that's at the heart of the sweepstakes prize scam, is the fact that they want payment in advance.
So is there just one style of sweepstakes, or are there many different variations?
Oh, there's many different, just like there's many variations of real sweepstakes, and there are legitimate giveaways. Don't get me wrong. There are legitimate prizes out there, very difficult to win. Some would say nearly impossible, but for every legitimate type of sweepstakes out there, there's a scam sweepstakes or an illegitimate sweepstakes that's modeled after that same kind of winning. So we see foreign lottery scams where someone will claim there's a foreign lottery that maybe you've never even heard of before, much less entered. And they claim that you've won this foreign lottery, just sort of like claiming that there's a rich uncle in Nigeria or a prince or something that claims that you get an inheritance or something. Just such stories that are too good to be true usually are. Now, beyond foreign lottery scams, we also see scams where people impersonate Publishers Clearinghouse, which is a legitimate organization. They sell their sweepstakes subscriptions, and then what they want you to get into their sweepstakes. That's where they get a lot of promotion availability in that advertising that they do. So Publishers Clearinghouse is legitimate, but a lot of places impersonate them. And those are the scams, the ones where they don't deliver flowers to your doorstep. They tell you in advance you need to pay money. Those are the ones that are scams.
Is there like a police force that is out there? For instance, if I start a sweepstake scam, am I being investigated, or is there just so much going on that it's very difficult to select me?
Sort of a combination of both. I mean, I think that law enforcement would generally be maybe not local law enforcement at the township or city level, but high level law enforcement, maybe at the federal level, like the FBI or the Internet Crime Complaint Center. Their website is IC and the number 3.gov. They may be interested in internet scams and things like that. So I can't say that there's no punishment for being a sweepstakes scammer, but the truth is that a lot of times people complain to our office. It's difficult for people to get their money back, and it's difficult because a lot of these scammers are overseas and they do their dirty work beyond our shores. So when they're hiding behind a fake phone number, making international calls, sending international mail, sending out fraudulent sweepstakes claims notices, some of which we'll see here in just a little bit. It's tough to catch them. It's tough to catch them, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, and that law enforcement like the FBI or like the Internet Crime Complaint Center doesn't mean there's no interest in it. It's just we need that evidence. We need people to, when they see a scam, report that scam to the Ohio Attorney General, or to, if it's the internet that's doing the scam, if it's over the internet, maybe IC3.gov, or a force like that can hopefully track down the perpetrators and bring them to justice.
Is there a time frame that the sweepstakes run? Like, for instance, 3 months and then it's taken off?
It depends on the actual sweepstakes scam. A lot of times in the letter, maybe they'll tell you a deadline, or they want you to act right away, or maybe they give some parameters almost like a real sweepstakes would give you. Because after all, these are modeled after real sweepstakes because they want you to believe it's real. So they may give you a deadline, or they may tell you that they're going to overnight you documents, or they may want you to overnight documents back to them. And they might give dates on there in terms of when the notice was given to you. But it's all a ruse. It's all just a fake scam anyway. So none of the dates really mean anything. The best thing to do is to report the scam, let them turn over the documents, and if it has any personal identifiable information on it, before you put them in the trash, make sure to shred them, because we don't want your personal information to be in the dumpster ready to be received by a identity thief.
Now, the processing fees that they ask, generally, how much money do they usually ask? $20, $100? What's the?
Sometimes it's a lot more than that. Sometimes it's in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And sometimes they'll come up with one charge, they'll make up one charge. And then if you're willing to pay that charge, maybe a few $100s or a few $1,000s. Sometimes they'll try to tell you it's 1% or 10% of your eventual winnings, which never come. But, they'll want that payment in advance. And that's where the scam comes in. There's no prize, and any amount that you give them, they might just keep, and then they'll come back to you with another excuse for why they need another charge for you to pay. So it doesn't always end with paying the little fee and getting nothing in return. Sometimes they'll come back to you with an excuse about why you have to pay a second fee or a third fee or a fourth fee. Wow. And they'll keep it going until you finally understand that it's a scam, and you report it to our office, or you just hang up the phone and stop talking to the scammers, or you quit answering their mail or their emails. So sometimes they just try to string somebody along for a ride until they've paid 3 or 4 fees, and they finally learn the lesson that there's not going to be any prize at the end of that trip.
Well, let's take a look at some of the things that you have brought along today.
Sure. Okay, so this is a totally phony Publishers Clearinghouse notice. The city may be real, the street might even be real, but I bet it doesn't go to Publishers Clearinghouse. And if it does go there, this did not originate from the real Publishers Clearinghouse. They give a reference number that may look official, or at least it looks complicated enough to be legitimate. This one's dated back in 2014, and they tell you that you've drawn the lucky number and you get $1.15 million in what they call cash credit. Not even sure what that means, but they said that there were 843,000 participants not plural, participants. So you got to watch for the bad grammar in this draw. Your number was approved as one of the 3 finalists to share $10 million. And then they give you all the other parameters, and they say that your payment will be processed and must leave our office within 72 hours. And they give a phone number to an agent who's probably involved in the scam with probably a made-up name. And you need to contact them to find out your method of payment. And at that point, they would probably let you know the bad news that you owe money in advance, and then start the process rolling for making sure you never get any winnings because they don't exist. It also says down at the bottom, it says to avoid delays, you must keep this award confidential until your winnings is processed, another grammar mistake, and your cash prize remitted into your account. So the reason why they want you to keep it secret is so you don't talk to friends and family. They won't be able to alert you that this does sound too good to be true, and it's definitely a scam.
Well, that's very interesting, Ryan. Public Publishing Clearinghouse is such a large organization. I can see where people get confused.
Absolutely. When they impersonate the actual name and steal the logo of the real Publishers Clearinghouse, at least some people are going to think it's got some legitimacy. And in this case, they have a phony signature along with a lady's name that they claim is chairman of the board and chief executive officer. Now, it could be a fake photo. That person may not exist, or maybe it's a real person that they're impostoring. So when you do your research, if you want to Google it or if you want to look through the internet for verification, those dots may line up for you in terms of it being a real person. They're just not authorizing this letter, and it's being sent out without their permission and without any winnings really being won by you. So we see a lot of imposter scams as well in this country.
There's 2 scams. One scam is for you to send money, and the other is to get into your bank account.
Well, that could be. We don't know what the payment method for this particular letter will be because you're not supposed to find out unless you call them, which is a really bad idea because you may end up giving them personal information. They may be able to string you along on one or more different types of scams. But they do say that you are eligible for a lump sum payout to your preferred bank account. And how are they going to get that bank account information? Well, I bet that's exactly one of the details they want you to tell them when you give them a call. All a scam.
The second scam is payment audit advisory. What's this about?
Well, this one goes back to 2006, and they've even got a stamp that shows that the available prize is $697,500.88. It's got a little barcode that'll go to the recipient. We've blocked out the address of the real person that this was mailed to. But this is an official looking certificate, even with a number and a date on it, that says that it's formal notification in accordance with the procedural stipulations noted herein. Notice they use all this official legal sounding wording, but they show that they affirm and fully guarantee that the recipient of the letter, whose name we blocked out, shall be paid a cash award of up to $10,000. And they give an audit number, an advisory number. And then they say that you are establishing claims to all or part of no less than $697,000. There's a signature at the bottom. It says that there's a pending award, that the guaranteed award is a check for cash. And they say this is the only notice you will receive on this matter, no exceptions. So this is totally phony. And they even have a fake rubber stamp imprint that says confirmed cash winner up to $10,000. Again, totally phony, but it looks real to someone who may not have seen any of these sweepstakes scams before.
So I noticed down here, submit the certificate of claim. Do you have to call them, or what are they asking you, and how can they use that as a scam?
They ask you to remit an advisory processing fee that's listed on a separate form. They want it in cash, check, or money order for receipt of the advisory number. And then they want to mail your signed and complete certificate of claim in a pre-addressed return envelope provided for you. And they tell you, again, here's a tactic scammers use. Note the deadline to file posted and mail promptly to avoid missing the deadline. Again, they want to make it seem like it's real and that there's an impending deadline and you stand to miss out on thousands of dollars unless you comply with every bit of this information in this phony sweepstakes notification.
Congratulations, I've won $10 million.
Yeah, and this one is, they claim it's a sweepstakes clearinghouse giveaway. And they even put a service mark, a trademark on the word clearinghouse. So I'm assuming they want to pretend like they're Publishers Clearinghouse or they're just playing a little game with the names so that you might think that it's a true sweepstakes and not a fake one. But the funny thing about this actual certificate of award is that they reference the retail price of these supposed prizes as in upwards of $400 to $800, and they have a credit voucher underneath where they want payment for one or more of these items. So not only are they willing to give you the item and accept payment, but they even want to know what color you want of the luggage, what type of wood you want of the stereo system. There's ebony and oak. They method of payment they're listing is a check or money order or a credit card. So these people even have a processing contract with one of these credit card processors, presumably to steal money from unsuspecting customers that think this is real. Now, the funny thing about this certificate and the credit voucher, if you scroll down to the bottom, they're willing to even put this on layaway for you. So not only do they want money, they're willing to let you pay it over time. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there is that credit voucher that says that has layaway listed as one of the options for payment. They want a check or money order for $10 or $25 for balances over $200, and they want a layaway. So there's all this, these phony payment arrangements and claim forms and layaways, and you can pay in all these different methods, but whatever you pay is going to be lost because you're never going to get your $10 million. Well, in fact, it's saying you've gotten a consolation prize. So you didn't win the $10 million, but here's a credit voucher where you can get these prizes that they say are worth between $479 and $899. When this very well may be just a solicitation for you to buy products, and they may be charging more than it's worth or the full retail price of the product, but then just claim that you're a consolation winner of some sort. It's hard to tell, but in this case, you were the consolation winner. You didn't actually win the 10 million, but of course, they have no problem putting the $10 million prize in bold. Then they say that as a consolation winner, you get a credit voucher and you can apply that towards the choice of following products.
I'm quite sure that they would love to have your credit card information also.
Oh, absolutely. And they ask for your signature, your phone number, an optional email address, and they want any name and address corrections as well to make sure that you're going to be mailed appropriately for whatever follow-ups they think that you might receive. Potentially a prize that's probably going to be worth a lot less than what they claim it's worth, or maybe nothing at all, or a solicitation for further consolation prizes, which may end up not amounting to much at all.
You brought a couple other slides.
Yeah.
This is the UK ESPN. What kind of scam is this?
This is kind of like one of those foreign lottery type scams where it's a foreign country. You might not know the name of the actual lottery, or they may associate it with a big company, in this case, ESPN, the popular sports cable broadcaster, and they claim that you're entitled to a substantial amount of 2 million Great British pounds. Kindly confirm receipt of this email by forwarding your details to the claims department. They want a photocopy of your driver's license or your international passport. And again, they give you some contact information and make it look official and claim that they're based in London, England. They give you a complicated looking reference number and batch number to make it look official up in the left-hand corner as part of their letterhead. And they even have some numbers down below claiming that it's some kind of Powerball or some type of sweepstakes, because they have what are supposedly the winning numbers underneath the letterhead.
So this comes in my email. I'll have to look for that one.
Too good to be true. And in this case, it's 2 million pounds. But again, they try to use these foreign lottery scams. You can probably bet nobody's entered this contest that actually got receipt of this so-called award certificate. And they even have no name on the certificate. It just says, dear email account user. So they could have sent this to 1 billion email addresses in hopes that a few people would take the bait.
One of the things that I always am interested in is lotteries. There is a lot of money being spent on lotteries. And you brought something here. This is your email has been selected in Powerball lottery.
Yeah, this was you guys chose some good examples. This is saying that your email was selected. How does the Powerball lottery draw? I mean, you usually have to have, I think, the correct numbers in order to win the Powerball lottery, but they're telling you that it's some kind of email selection and that you've won $1.5 million. And they kindly want you to send your full name, address, and your phone number for claims. And they give the name of somebody who they may have just stolen the name and title from the real Powerball folks, because that is a real contest. It's even trademarked, I believe.
Yeah.
But or they just made it up. Maybe a scammer just thought it up in his head and put it down. But most likely, whoever's looking at this online is not won $1.5 million. Most likely, they've won nothing.
And what they want you to do is send them money for processing fees, I bet.
Most likely, if you send them all your personal information, I'm sure they'll put you on a mailing list or two, and they'll get you some claim information that you better believe is going to involve paying some money through gift cards or maybe through a wire transfer or MoneyGram, some type of payment transfer method like that scammers love to use.
I'm just amazed at how much is out there that's willing to scam us, and sweepstakes is just one of those areas.
Just one of those, because they want people to believe in miracles. They want people to believe in dreams. They want people to think that, oh, well, it's probably not going to be true, but it's only $50. It's only $200. I'll risk it because I think it might, have an ounce of truth to it. When in fact, you're really funding these types of crimes by paying any kind of reward or customs fee or tax that they make up for you to pay.
There's a lot of people that fall for this. Do they immediately call you, or are they embarrassed to call you?
I think, it can happen either way. If people know that it's a scam, a lot of times they'll want us to help educate their community about these types of scams. And so a lot of times we collect things when we're giving in-person presentations, when it's not a pandemic. When we're giving in-person presentations, sometimes people will bring evidence right to the presentation and say, hey, I got this in the mail. What do you think of this one? Or feel free to keep this and black my name out and use it as evidence when we go around the state to talk to Ohioans about these types of sweepstakes and prize scams. Other times, if they pay and if they're swindled, sometimes they will be embarrassed or ashamed. or they just don't want to report the scam because they may not know who to report it to. When in fact, if they want to report it to the Ohio Attorney General's office, we stand ready to at least receive those types of reports at our website at www.ohioprotects.org, or through our toll-free help center for the Ohio Attorney General's office. That's 800-282-0515. So if you see scams like this, let us know so we can tell other people through our educational presentations.
So let's just suppose I got scammed out of $200 and I went to you.
A lot of times these scenarios don't really pan out in us being able to prosecute because these people are very well overseas. They cover their tracks. They may use unsuspecting Americans as what they call money mules to help launder the money or to launder phony prizes or something. So usually these are overseas, and Nigeria is popular for scammers. Sometimes other countries, like especially Jamaica, there are a lot of scammers in that country and other Caribbean islands. So usually these people are very hard to catch. They try to cover their tracks, and they try to do this fairly anonymously without their fingerprints all over it. So they may make up names and sign things with false names. And, you know, if they call anybody, they can use caller ID spoofing to make you think they're calling from a different number than they really are. So very difficult to catch these kinds of scammers. We want to know about the scams, but it's very difficult to actually press charges or to go through the prosecution process. And when it comes to consumer protection issues, we generally have civil authority, not criminal authority. We would have to go to a county prosecutor or someone else with criminal authority to help us with the investigation and to prosecute.
Ryan, again, I want to thank you very much for a lot of useful information. We're talking with Ryan Lippe. He's a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost office. And I always look forward to these programs and hope to see you soon.
Thanks everybody, and stay safe.